Welcome, DoorGrow hackers, to the DoorGrow Show. So if you are a property management entrepreneur that wants to add doors, make a difference, increase revenue, help others, impact lives, and you're interested in growing in business and life, and you're open to doing things a bit differently, then you are a DoorGrow hacker. DoorGrow hackers love the opportunities, daily variety, unique challenges, and freedom that property management brings. Many in real estate think you're crazy for doing it. You think they're crazy for not, because you realize that property management is the ultimate high trust gateway to real estate deals, relationships, and residual income. At DoorGrow, we are on a mission to transform property management business owners and their businesses. We want to transform the industry, eliminate the BS, build awareness, change perception, expand the market, and help the best property management entrepreneurs win. I'm your host, property management growth expert, Jason Hull, the founder and CEO of DoorGrow. Now, let's get into the show. So I have a special guest with me today, one that I happen to be madly in love with. This is Sarah Hall, Hall, different last name. For now. I'm working on changing that, y'all. I'm working on changing that one letter in her last name. So this is Sarah. So Sarah, why don't you tell everybody about yourself?
All right. So what do you want me to get into? So
tell them what you do at DoorGrow and your background.
And my background. Okay. Well,
and then we'll get into our topic.
Let's see. So currently I am the COO here at DoorGrow. And so I'm kind of over all of the operations and the financials. I kind of make sure that the wheels are turning and that the business is moving forward. And I have my hands into a lot of the little nitty-gritty details. So that's kind of what I do at DoorGrow. On top of that, I am also a property management business owner. And I've done that for about 5 years now, about 5 years, I think. And I'm actually, I've got a small team at this point. My real background, I would say, is sales. So I always say I haven't sold anything a day in my life. All I do is I give people the information that they need to make educated decisions. And I think if you believe that that's what you're doing is just kind of educating people, then it's not really sales. You're not really pushing anything on them that, they don't want or don't need. But I have an extensive sales background. I've been working since I was 14 years old. And my first sales gig was probably when I was about 16 or 17. And I've been doing various forms of sales and now entrepreneur opportunities and all that good stuff ever since.
Okay. All right. Sarah's a badass. So I just want you to know, Sarah single-handedly has cut some of our clients with hundreds of doors, like operational and staffing costs, in half from a single call. She's very efficient. It's why she's able to run, our company at DoorGrow as an operator and COO while running an entire property management business with hundreds of doors to being as a part-time gig, really, with one person that's part-time boots on the ground, and she's able to systemize her business to that level. So she's able to help our clients out a lot in the coaching. And we've got a really awesome team. So what we're going to talk about today, Sarah and I went to a conference recently. We went to Funnel Hacking Live, which is a big marketing conference full of entrepreneurs, and they had some amazing speakers. So one of the speakers there was this gal named Jamie Kern Lima. And if you haven't heard of her, you can Google her. She's kind of a big deal, but she has this book called Believe It. And she was talking about this framework of 4 steps to related to belief. And I thought this would be really powerful to share with our audience. So we want to take you through this briefly and share. So where should we start?
Why don't you go through some of the framework stuff, or should we go into her background? Let's do a little bit of
background. Tell about the background.
Let's do a little bit of background, then we'll do the framework, then we'll get into the nuts and bolts and nitty-gritty stuff. So what I found really inspiring about Jamie is she saw an issue that really she found ended up being relevant to thousands of women all across the globe. She was suffering from a skin issue called, I think she had rosacea. And she was using all these different makeup brands. She tried just about everything there was to try, concealers and primers, and she's tried it all. Every single brand, every single product, nothing really worked for her. And she was at really like what she thought was the height of her career as a TV news anchor. And she had her earpiece in her ear while she's live, and her producer is going, your makeup is running, like you're on live TV and it's running, and she's like trying to blot, and she had blotted and wiped off almost all of her makeup, and he's going in her ear, it's worse now, you made it worse, it's really bad now, you have to fix this. So she finds that no product really is working for her. So she's, after tried everything, she's thinking, hey, you know what? I need to be the one to create the solution, because I know I'm not the only woman who is struggling with this problem. So this is a little bit about her journey on, how she kind of found the issue, figured, hey, it's on me, right? Nobody else is doing it. It's on me to create this solution. And then how she actually, how she did it. So I think that's a little bit of her background. Why don't you get into the framework that she had?
Yeah. So she shared a framework, and she said, one of the biggest challenges for entrepreneurs really is just to be able to believe in yourself. Everybody says like you need to like take action and hustle and do this and live the dream. But the one fundamental defining factor between those that succeed and those that don't is they have this deep sort of driving motivator or why. But really underneath all that, you have to believe in yourself, because if you don't believe in yourself, you don't get it. So she has this framework, and her framework was, number one, if you're taking notes, go for it, write it down, is clarity. Number two is action. Start taking action. Number three, you have to believe it's possible, this possibility belief. And then number four, you have to believe you are worthy. You have this worthiness belief. And she quoted Joel Osteen and said, our setbacks are really setups for something greater, which I loved. And so she talked about finding the why beneath the why. And she says, if you're not getting results, or you think you have some sort of why or motivator, it's not deep enough. Because a lot of times we hit walls. Businesses go out of business. We fail as entrepreneurs. And if you're failing, it's because you gave up. And she said, you have to use unattainable aspirations. Like we have these dreams that are so big sometimes, but one of my great quotes I wrote down from her was, never let others' doubt about you turn into doubt about yourself. Nobody around you is going to get the vision that you feel called to do, or that motivator that you have deep down. They're not going to feel it at the same level. So they're going to doubt you, or they're going to try and protect you, and they're going to like shoot it down. And so it's about having that belief that's so deep that you're in alignment with God, universe, your purpose, whatever, that you are going to push past and through any objection. She had a lot of rejection and challenges, right?
Hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds of no's. So in my notes, it was her and her husband who created this product, and then it was her and her husband who were marketing it and trying to sell it and trying to just get it going. And they were like, okay, what can we do? Can we sell it ourselves? This isn't seeming to be working the way we want it to. We need to get another brand, like a larger brand, to pick it up. Right? So like sell it, maybe like a L'Oreal or a Maybelline, or somebody will buy it, and then they can, really market it to the masses. So they were doing this, and they were just churning and churning and churning. Neither one of them took a paycheck for 3 years. So this wasn't something that was like this overnight success that just, she woke up and like a rags to riches overnight story, right? This is a 3-year struggle. Over those 3 years, they heard hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of no's. And some of them were really brutal. The most brutal one she got, she said it almost stopped her right then and there. But one of the notes that I wrote is that you can't listen to all of the no's. And you can only really do this, as a side note, you can only not listen to the no's if you truly know your purpose and your mission. So if you don't have that really deep-seated why in you, why do I even care enough to do this? The no's are going to affect you. But she says you cannot listen to the no's. When you get a no, God gives you the knowing. And if you end up listening to the no's, if you do succumb to that, and you listen to those no's, then what you're doing is you're talking yourself out of your truth.
Yeah. I wrote this down. She went to one of her heroes, one of her mentors. It was like a dream. She got an interview with them. And the guy said, basically, it's not going to work. Nobody wants to buy this product from somebody that looks like you and this sort of thing. And it was like crushing to her. And eventually this guy was working for her, which I thought was just a great ending to her story. But she said, he gave me a no and it crushed me, but God gave me a knowing. And I was like, ooh, I love that. Like, you have a knowing like this is going to work, but you're going to get rejections. You're going to get no's. And if you're not willing to take the no's and not willing to keep going, you don't really have that knowing or a strong enough purpose. It's going to carry you through that. You're going to get rejected. You're going to try and sell property management. You're trying to get clients and people are going to say no, and you're going to feel friction and it's going to be uncomfortable. And a lot of people avoid all that discomfort and have a fantasy business and they don't even get started. So she asked this question, and I want to ask all of you listening: do you listen to the no, or do you listen to the knowing? The no's will talk you out of your own truth, is what Sarah mentioned. So she then talked about hiding. When you're hiding in plain sight, like you have big goals, but at the expense of your soul, you're not raising your hand. And extroverts hide by entertaining everyone else, and introverts like hide in their own way. But are you hiding in plain sight? I thought was a really big thing. How have you been hiding in plain sight? One way is you're creating so much self-doubt inside, or you're supporting others' dreams, but not your own, or you're championing your kids, but not your own self. These kind of things. These are how we hide. What else do you remember about hiding in plain sight? I thought that was really powerful.
So this one, I actually have it on a different section. She spoke about it a little bit later. It was kind of in the middle of telling her story before like the real big kind of like turnaround. But her notes were authenticity does not guarantee success.
Ooh, I have that written down. Yeah,
But
authenticity may not guarantee success, but inauthenticity. Oh, you were going to say it.
no, you go ahead.
No, go ahead.
You took it. Go ahead.
I have this.
Go right
I
on.
wrote down, quote: authenticity may not guarantee success, but inauthenticity guarantees failure. Yeah. But I have that way later. We must have wrote it in different orders. But yeah, that's I don't know. How's that shown up for you in entrepreneurism? I think we've all hid.
Not so much for me, I think.
No?
No.
I don't know.
I think for a very long time, I've just been very comfortable with, who I am and how I do things. And I've always sort of known I'm a little different. And I've always been okay with that. But I think that especially when you're young and you're going to school, right? And everybody, all the kids come home and they'll cry, oh, I don't fit in. Like, no, I'm not the same. I'm different and I'm weird. And, it's not until later in life that you realize you want to be different and you want to be weird and you don't want to fit in. You don't want to be the same as everybody else. And I think I've just always been really comfortable with that. And I've kind of always had the attitude like, all right, well, I am who I am. And there are going to be people who really enjoy that. There are going to be people who cannot handle that. And that's okay. Because like if I were to come with a warning label, like I am not for everyone. I'm not. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay. I don't need to be liked by everyone. I don't need everyone to, be like, oh, she's so great. It's okay because I know what I'm doing, and I know that I'm comfortable in who I am and in my mission and in my purpose.
Yeah, I think I've definitely hid in plain sight. I think I've always had I always felt really not confident. I had a lot of insecurity, and I would overcompensate by really taking care of my clients. And I really wanted to let them have success, but I didn't want to be seen. Like I didn't want to do podcasts. I didn't want to be in the limelight. And until one of my mentors or coaches like Jason, like if you want to see the change that you want to see in the industry, you got to stop waiting on somebody else to do it or hoping somebody else picks up this cause and like does it. You're because you have that calling inside. You're the one that needs to do what needs to be done. And that I had to kind of swallow that and stop sort of hiding. because that's a lot easier, right? Sometimes it's just easy to stay in the background, and that self-doubt. So, what else did you have on her framework or about this?
Well, I think from her, my big takeaway, and it's something that we can all relate to, right? Like everyone, I think, has been in a situation where we really hope that, we get something or we do something or something happens and then it doesn't. Right. Or, we're chasing a client. We're like, oh man, I would love to land this client. I would love to close this deal. I would love to get this promotion. I would love to, have a great hire. I interviewed this person and, oh wow, I really loved her. She was so perfect. She would be amazing. I really hope that she, when we extend the offer, she takes it. And we've all heard no. Right. And there's a little part of you that is like so hurt by that. And instead of just taking that pain and kind of dwelling in that, it's just take it and hang on to it and keep on going. So one of the big turning points in her story was after hearing, no paycheck for 3 years, hundreds of no's, no company at all would pick her up. None. Had a really brutal no from a company who said, "Hey, can I give you some honest feedback?" And she said, "Of course, I want the honest feedback. Tell me. Like if it's going to help me, tell me." And he said, "Well, we're just not confident that a woman that looks like you is really going to be the best face for the business." So, she wasn't thin enough. She wasn't pretty enough. She had rosacea, which, I mean, I'm pretty, I may even have some rosacea myself, but, I get very red in the face at times too. But that wasn't back then like the standard of beauty, right? It was, this one definitive thing. And if you didn't fit in that mold, then, all these companies just didn't think that you were going to be successful. And that could have been absolutely crushing to so many of us. And she didn't let that stop her. She continued. She kept going. She kept trying. She went to, trade shows and expos and approached the company that had already told her no multiple times, told her no at the trade show when you're not supposed to leave your booth, because you can get kicked out of the trade show for leaving your booth. She went and approached. She's like, "Listen, can you watch my booth? I got to run." She ran back over to that company and said, "I know you guys have told me no before, but I'm going to pitch it to you again." And she did it again. And they took a meeting with her. And then at this point, everything, like all eggs in one basket. She had one shot. And it was a 10-minute slot. And in that 10 minutes, like they had to create all of the products, they had to manufacture all of the products because they needed to have a certain amount that was ready to sell just in case it sold. They also needed to ship it to this company so that if it sold, this company was ready to get it out to their consumers. So they had to spend their last like thousands of dollars just in case this would work. She had about 10 minutes. 10, that was it. And there was a clock, and on it's not even truly a 10 minutes, because during that time there are certain intervals, and at these intervals you need to hit a certain sales goal. So if you're only 2 minutes in and you haven't hit your sales goal yet, they pull you. You're done. Game over. So it was literally her last shot. They were about to close the doors and just be done because they couldn't afford to keep going. And she ended up doing it. And they not only did she do it, she sold it out, completely sold it out. She ended up then getting a buyout from one of the companies that originally told her no multiple times. And I believe, if I'm remembering the number correctly, it was a $1.2 billion buyout. Billion with a B, that's right. The person that had originally told her no and given her that really awful feedback, she said, "I was so tempted to reach back out and say, listen, I've got 1.2 billion reasons why you were wrong." But instead of doing that, and instead of being like, "Ha, I was right and you were wrong, and look at me, and I knew it all this whole time," she said, "I had to be really thankful for all of the no's in the process, because at the time that she met with a person who just really like destroyed her almost. If he had offered her anything, she would have taken it.
She would have given up.
Anything.
Yeah, for a small amount of money.
So she would have missed out on $1.2 billion because she was so desperate and so, tired, and just, it was such a long journey at that point that she was just ready. So she said, anybody could have come along and given me peanuts for this, and I would have been like, great, thank you, please take it.
So for her, when she went on that show, it was do or die. They were either going to declare bankruptcy because they had shelled out their last dime towards all this product, and if it didn't sell, they were like dead in the water. And so she took a risk. Everybody told her not to do this, but she got on camera and she wiped off her makeup, showed her skin, and showed how red it was and everything, which everybody was like,
which is exactly what they told her not to do.
Yeah, they told her, don't do this.
Do not do this.
She did it anyway, and people were sold. She showcased the product and how it worked on herself, and people were amazed. And that vulnerability was where she's like, I am not going to hide in plain sight. I'm going to like do this in front of everybody. And so that's the message is, how are you hiding in plain sight? What do you know deep down you should be doing, but you haven't really done it? You've just been you've got this facade, you've kind of not been doing it. She mentioned things like maybe you need to start that book you've been dreaming of, or maybe you need to take that leap that you've not done, or whatever it might be. She said, I have a couple of great quotes. One was, the longest journey is the 18 inches from your head to your heart. I really like that one. And she also said, I thought this was interesting because she had a lot of success afterwards. She said, people cheer you on after you've made it, and be so great they can't ignore you that they eventually have to pay you. So, and the guy that told her that really brutal no, nobody wants to work with somebody that looks like you and like this kind of thing, he eventually became on her board. He told her, I was wrong. And he then was working for her and helping her build the business. And so I thought that was a really powerful conversation. So to recap the framework, first, you need clarity. Figure out like, what is it that you feel deep down that you should do and should be focused on. Take action, massive action. And number 3, believe it's possible. You have to continue to believe it's possible, or you're going to give up. And then deeper than that, you have to believe you're worthy. No matter what anyone else says about you, no matter if they say you're not good looking enough, or you're not smart enough, or you have to believe, because you have that calling deep down. You have to believe that one of the great quotes at the conference was, God qualifies the call. So if you feel that calling deep down, you're qualified.
The first part was the best part.
Oh, then you say it. This is why I keep her around.
I wrote it down because
she's got a way better memory than me.
I know, but I heard it, and then I heard it again a few times throughout the conference, and I was like, oh, I heard it the first time, but it didn't sink in the first time. Oh, it was, God doesn't call the qualified.
Yeah.
He qualifies the called.
Yeah. He qualifies the call, because if he gives you the call, you feel that deep down, or the universe, or whatever you're into, if you feel that calling, deep down that it's the right thing for you to do, you're qualified. He will help you eventually get qualified. As long as you keep pushing towards it, you will become the person you need to become in order to do that. So, and Jamie Kern Lima, her thing reinforced that. So that's kind of our message for today.
I've got 2 more great ones from her.
She's got 2 more quotes.
One-liners from her that I was like, my hand after this event was just done.
Yeah.
It's still tight. That was weeks ago. So, in relation to when she had that opportunity, and she had what she thought was an opportunity, which ended up being another no, right? But if it had been that opportunity, she would have just sold it to get out of it and been like, yes, thank you, please take it. And she would have missed out on the big deal, right? So she says, you have to thank God for the open doors, but you also have to thank him for the closed ones. So just because it's a closed door, it's probably closed for a reason. It's not the right door. So just keep going until you find the right one, because it will happen. Also, when you change your relationship with rejection, you change your life.
That's a
so
good
that
one.
Is really big. So those are my 2 last little gems from her.
Yeah, love it. So that's our message for today. So believe in yourself. Believe that you're worthy. And if you don't have the right clarity, if you don't know the right actions to take, but you feel deep down you should have a property management business, you feel like you should be able to grow this, We want to help you get that clarity. We want to help you take the right actions. So reach out to us. You can check us out at doorgrow.com. You can also go join our free Facebook group, doorgrowclub.com. And we would love to get connected with you, have our team connect with you, and get you on that right journey and avoid all the sand traps, avoid the common mistakes, and get your business so that it's healthy as quickly as possible. So, and with that, we are out. So until next time, to our mutual growth. Anything you want to say before we close?
I think that's it.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Bye.